Good afternoon and welcome to the Conrad School of Entrepreneurship and Business. Thank you for being here. My name is Felix Arndt. I'm the current director of the Conrad School, the school that Wayne Chang called home for more than a decade, and that he helped shape into what it is today. We're here to celebrate a life that touched more people than Wayne ever knew, which is fitting because Wayne was never counting. He simply gave consistently and quietly to everyone around him. I just mentioned to his family the first interaction I had. He came with a list to me about an evening event, guest speakers with 100 people, and for each of them he listed how we know them, their background, and how I can talk to them. And that was Wayne in every respect. He always thought about how he can add value to others and never asked for anything back. I want to first acknowledge Wayne's family, who is here today. Thank you for sharing Wayne with our community. He has been an incredible asset. The students he believed in, the colleagues he encouraged, the founders he helped launch, all of them are part of this legacy, and all of them are here because of you. To the students and alumni in this room, and he told to me many times that this is the case. In fact, he mentioned that every time for whatever he did, you were his purpose. He showed up for you every day. And it is clear from how many of you are here that you knew too that he was here for you every day. What strikes me as I've listened to those who knew Wayne closely is that the words people reach for are never about accomplishment when they talk about Wayne. Though there were many accomplishments. They say words like warmth, generosity, joy. That tells you everything about the kind of person Wayne was. He was there to help you when you needed help, to encourage you when you needed encouragement, and to celebrate when your successes won. For Wayne, the future was bright. It was something he said often. At Conrad, this belief has become constitutional. And it is one of the ways that we will carry his legacy forward. We have a beautiful program this afternoon. You will see some of the ideas and companies that he nurtured, some of the games that he liked to play in his Bet 300 and other courses, and you will meet many people who will remember Wayne with you, and who you can share memories with. I know the reflections ahead will help remember the brightness that Wayne brought into our lives every day, and I'd like now to welcome our Provost, Tom Duver, to speak on behalf of the university.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here as we gather to honor and celebrate the life of Professor Wayne Chang. It means a great deal to see colleagues, alumni, students, and friends come together in this moment of remembrance. Your presence reflects the profound impact Wayne had on our community. The sudden loss of Wayne has been deeply felt across the Faculty of Engineering, the Conrad School of Entrepreneurship and Business, and the wider University of Waterloo community. On behalf of the university, I want to extend our heartfelt condolences to Wayne's family, his students, his colleagues, and all those who were touched by his generosity, his intellect, and his spirit. Wayne was an exceptional educator, a dedicated mentor, and a brilliant contributor to his field. His work shaped not only the direction of the discipline, but also the lives of countless students who credit him with opening doors, sparking ideas, and helping them see possibilities they had never imagined. His colleagues speak of him as someone who elevated every conversation, every project, and every team he was part of. He believed deeply in the potential of his students and invested in them with a sincerity that left a lasting mark. Many of them carried forward lessons that go far beyond the classroom, lessons about resilience, about creativity, and the courage to take risks. As we reflect on Wayne's life, we also reflect on the legacy he leaves behind. His teaching will continue to shape the next generation of innovators and leaders. His service to the university will continue to influence how we support one another and how we build community. Today, we celebrate a colleague who gave so much of himself and whose influence will continue to ripple outward for years to come. Thank you all for joining us to honor Wayne. I'd now like to invite the Dean of Engineering, Mary Wells, to say a few words.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I realize I'm the only one that's brought up Kleenex so far, so hopefully I'll make it through. I talked to a few of the students yesterday at my coffee and conversation, and they said today would be hard, and I'm feeling it today. Hillary, thank you so much for everything you did, and you allowed Wayne to be with us, and I know you really allowed him to be fully with us because you missed out many evenings with him because he was so dedicated. But Wayne was really one of the most beautiful human beings I have ever had the privilege to meet. He really embodied everything we hope a professor will be. He radiated a positive, infectious energy, I would say, that really uplifted everybody around him, and that is so unusual. And yet he never sought the spotlight for himself, but he continuously chose to shine that light on others, on students, on new faculties, on our collective community, on me as dean, at any moment he could. The other thing that really struck me about Wayne is Wayne never said no when we reached out to ask him to help for anything. His only condition, and he was very firm about this, was that it would not take him away from his students. And I think that really tells you where his heart was. He absolutely loved the students, and he did not want to miss out any moments in being with them. He poured himself into our e-co-op program, and this is one of the programs we have at this university that is a jewel, a gem that we have in large part because of Wayne, and has led to such success of many of our very gifted, ambitious students that have gone on to create wonderful, wonderful things here. Because of him, so many young founders found the confidence to start ventures that changed the trajectories of their own lives. That work happened quietly behind the scenes and without fanfare. To close my remarks, I just want to share a memory I have that I think captures Wayne exactly. This past September at Hack the North, he organized a small Saturday gathering for the founders of Hack the North and the recipients of the Pearl Sullivan Scholarship. The scholarship was worth $3,333. And of course, Wayne suggested that we meet at 3:33 in the afternoon. That detail was so completely him. He insisted we take videos with the students because he wanted them in the spotlight, not him. And then he taught me how to throw an aura, something I'd never heard of before. He said, that's what the students do now. He also taught me how to make a small heart like that for the photo. And he showed me all this with complete sincerity and total joy. He told me about each of those students, much like Felix has relayed, their stories, their ideas, where they were headed. He knew them deeply because he cared deeply about them. That was Wayne. He drew students from every background, every personality, every identity. He created spaces where they felt safe, valued, and celebrated for exactly who they were. For some, he may have been for some people, that may have been the first time someone in a position of authority looked at them and said, you belong here and you matter to us. Our faculty and staff are still grieving, as you can see. Our students are still grieving. In fact, some said they weren't even sure if they could show up here today because it would just be too hard. And I really encouraged them to come to meet his family and to participate in our collective grieving. And we are grieving together as a community, which is, I think, a gift he would have appreciated. I know he was always so joyous and he would want us to be happy today. So I'm remembering that. But Wayne made us better and his loss remains profound. To his family, thank you for sharing him with us. He changed lives. I hope you know that, Hillary. And he will continue to do so through every person he lifted up and believed in. Rest well, Wayne. You meant so much to this community. I'd like to now invite Mark Weber up for his personal reflections. Thank you, everybody.
Mary, you're not alone in bringing Kleenex up. It's just that I went for the easy access option. Wow. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Mark Weber, and I was director of the Conrad School from 2014 to 2023. I've been a part of the Conrad community for all the years that Wayne worked here. Wayne was magic. He was magnetic, he was magnanimous, he was magnificent. I started writing that series of sentences with Wayne was magic to start with. Sorry, easy access. One moment. Wayne won every teaching award, every honor of its kind that the university and the faculty had to bestow. He is the only person in recent memory who I know of who won the Distinguished Teaching Award for the entire university the very first time he was nominated. The norm was that you would be nominated once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, and then people start to think about it. Now, I've always considered this to be the biggest and most important award that we make at the University of Waterloo. Though I wasn't on the committee, I know some things about the nomination. I'm not sure the committee could have denied him the award, even if it had, for some perverse reason, wanted to. See, Mark Hurwitz, who was the associate director of Conrad at the time, put out a call to Wayne's students. One email. One email. And what came back was a tidal wave. Just so you know, a normal package, if it had like 15, 16 letters from students, that would be kind of astonishing. Mark gathered more than 50 letters in response to a single request. And the final package was a tsunami of 68 letters of support and nomination from the people who Wayne affected most directly. These letters came back from people who had been inspired and supported, encouraged, prompted to think bigger and to do better and to be more and to never stop dreaming and to always show up prepared and to believe in their own potential and to pay it forward and to connect and to network and to care deeply about mission and purpose and energy and possibility and one another. I say he was magic because I'm still not 100% sure how he did it. And I watched him do it for 15 years. I mean, we all saw pieces of Wayne, his compassion and his passion, his dedication, his giant heart, his expertise. But none of his teaching techniques fit neatly into textbooks. And if someone told you in advance what Wayne was planning to do on any given day, and he did tell me from time to time in advance, I don't think any of the brilliant instructors here could or would predict what would happen next or even why. But it was always magic. Always more impactful than you had hoped, bigger than you could possibly have imagined, and it didn't always make sense why. We just stood back in some awe, and certainly in gratitude that we got to go along with Wayne on the ride. He was magic. After I wrote magic, the words magnetic and magnanimous and magnificent came next. They just flowed onto the page, and I went looking to make some sense of that. And it turns out that the Latin root mag means great and large. And that root is also at the core of what I suspect is the best mag word to describe Wayne. Magnify. To make greater. To extol. Mary spoke of Wayne's humility. By the way, never make eye contact with your crying boss when you're crying. His desire to focus the spotlight on his students and on others. That was the heart of him, in my experience, to appreciate and encourage and make bigger and to make better. During my time as director, I would quite regularly send out little emails to the Conrad faculty celebrating some accomplishment or other of a faculty member. Janet Buchhorst got a great paper in a particular journal, and Wayne's spontaneous reaction broadcast out to everyone else was kind of this classic hashtag, Janet writes great research, and celebrates. A new faculty member would arrive and would have a fantastic showing in a new class, and Wayne's reaction was always, hashtag, Conrad has awesome teachers, just the celebration. When Wayne and I first got to know one another, the university was trying to figure out how to measure entrepreneurship impact. The easiest and most tempting and frankly sexiest way to do that is by counting companies. How many companies were founded? Wayne resisted that model, which is extraordinary for a guy who probably personally is responsible for mentoring more company launches than anyone in the last 15 years on the most entrepreneurial university campus in Canada. Wayne instead was about investing in people, in founders like you. And great people with the right supports would do great things, like so many of you. Companies would just result. And Wayne would celebrate the company, but he was always way more excited by the founder, the student, whose growth and courage and temerity and dedication made it happen. Almost done. Wayne wasn't a flashy guy, though he was definitely an unforgettable one. So I want to finish with a little small, not flashy personal memory of what he meant to this community. While I was director, I had this idea that we would start every school meeting with good news items. I hoped we would set a positive tone for the meeting. I literally put it on every agenda, good news items. As you can imagine, when I proposed that, some people thought it was a bit hokey. And I would announce, okay, it's good news item time, and you could almost tell a couple people were rolling their eyes because, okay, fine, a little forced. But not Wayne. Never Wayne. In fact, I think for 10 years at the start of every meeting when I asked for good news items, Wayne was the first person to speak. He always got us rolling. See, now, Amr, you looked at me and look at this. Who here was a student of Wayne's? Look around for a second. He always got us rolling, and what he got us rolling with was a story about one of you. A competition that you won, a breakthrough in your tech, an exciting minimum viable product, a first customer. Wayne never failed to remind us what we were about here, what mattered, and what we had the privilege to do, and that privilege was sacred. What was sacred was our students, and the privilege we had to be on your journeys with you. Wayne lived that every day that he was here, and he reminded us of our good fortune to do this work with him. There's a quote from Ted Lasso that I like a lot. The quote is, "I think things come into your life to take you from one place to a better one." I think Wayne was in our lives to remind us all that we could move from where we were to a better place. And he was eager to walk with us on the journey, giggling his absolutely inimitable giggle all the way. It's my privilege to introduce Amr, a former student of Wayne's, one of our brightest alumni, for an opportunity to pay tribute to Wayne. Thanks, Amr.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Hillary, for, as everyone said, giving us the opportunity to witness a little bit of Wayne, to have the privilege to have someone so special and so magical in our lives. Thank you for sharing him with us. My heartfelt condolences to you, the family, and the Conrad family, and the broader Waterloo community. Wayne was a very unique individual in every sense of the way. He was a gem. He was someone who made every single one of us feel like we were the center of his world, somehow. He mentored hundreds of students every single year, probably mentored more startups than any single person on this entire planet. Yet whenever you would go to him, you would go to speak to him, he would drop everything and focus on you. He was like a father figure to a lot of us, practically to all of us. And the stories that we lived through with Wayne really speak to that point. And I've got so many of them, but I want to share maybe a couple at least today, just to tell you how much he meant to me personally, to Yusuf, my co-founder, who's here, and to a lot of us as Waterloo founders and entrepreneurs. In one of the moments when we were first starting off our company, it was very challenging. It was difficult. It was probably one of the most difficult things to get up on our feet and make sure that we pursue something that not a lot of people would want to do. And building a medtech startup comes with a lot of its challenges, but he was always there behind us to make sure that we could succeed. A bunch of 21, 22-year-old aspiring engineers who have no clue what they're getting into, yet somehow he was there to back us up and believe in us and know that we were going to succeed. In one of the meetings very early on, I remember we had just wrapped up our undergrad and we were meeting with an MNC, a massive company. And it was myself and Yusuf, once again, 22, 23-year-old engineers, meeting with 9 directors and VPs, the combined experience of 150 years. It was just the two of us walking into the room, and all of a sudden we see Wayne there. He was there to make us feel supported. He knew how nervous we were stepping into this meeting, but he wanted us to make sure that we were going to feel like it was going to be all right. And at the same time, he wanted everyone in the room to feel like we were supported and backed up. And that's who truly Wayne was. He's with you every single step of the way. In another incident, in one of the many pitch competitions that Wayne was there to support us with, we went in very excited, very optimistic that we were going to win, but unfortunately we didn't. And he was one of the first people to come to us to tell us, you still managed to win the room, and that's what really matters. And I think that's a statement that I will always live by. Be a good person, work hard, and the results will end up coming. And that's what Wayne always reminded us of. Throughout the many years after we left the university and moved on to our headquarters, Wayne was always there to follow us and follow our progress and ask about us. Not only focusing on the business, but focusing on us as people. He was one of the first people to congratulate me when I got married, one of the first people to find out when I had a baby, and one of the first people to always wish me all the best in my personal life, before in our business. Wayne is someone that, no matter how many years, we will never forget. He was one of the core founders of our company, and I'm very, very fortunate and privileged to call him as one of my mentors and a father figure to me. Thank you so much for having me today. Wayne will always be remembered and will always be in our hearts. Rest in peace. Thank you.
Well, this is a celebration of life. Thank you for the speakers for the heartfelt comments. Thank you for the organizing team, in particularly Tracy, Kari, and Tori, for making this happen. Much of this is built on their love for Wayne. And thank you for all of you to be here to celebrate and honor Wayne. Again, I try to lift up myself as well. This is a celebration. So if you look around yourself, you will see a lot of amazing stuff that will remember you who Wayne was. First, when you came in, you heard a lot of upbeating tones. That was not us having an unusual choice of a playlist. This was Wayne's playlist. This is what he liked to play during his lectures when he walked around with his headphones. That was his music, and it will be played for the rest of the day. we also will have a pop culture course from next term on. You may also have noticed the candy station. Very colorful, and that was his way of showing people how to celebrate. You will have noticed the bubble tea, which he brought, drank, and gave to many people he liked. He wanted to help, nurture, and just be generous. Please make sure to take one of the pins that will where you will find little sayings that will remind you what Wayne would have told you, possibly today. You will also see some QR codes. These QR codes are here. They are kudo boards. You see that we have a PowerPoint presentation walking through here. So it's actually a kudo board, so you can upload photos, comments, anything that you want to share with the community, and this will be available online and also in particular for the family throughout. Some of the QR codes are also there to donate to the Wayne Chang Memorial Fund, and the family will decide on what to do with that. At 3:30, and as always, that will be one of the many highlights today, there will be Conrad games. All of you who have taken a class with him know that this was one of his favorites, and at 3:30 we will play some of the games that he loved to make us do. And finally, I want to thank all the students who are here who showcase some of the amazing work that he contributed to, where he at least was a part of. Please don't forget to visit the students, say hello, and share your memories with them. All of these things are just tokens of the impact he had. Never forget, the future is bright.